On this episode of We're No Damn Experts, Rebecca and Maddie finally tell you about the Mermaids in Great Falls, Montana, and they visit with their first expert at the Sip and Dip Lounge.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You wanna get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you wanna go, we can take you there. To Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Maddie.
I'm Rebecca.
And we're no damn
damn
experts.
Today, with us, is a local legend,
Yes.
if you will. A person who has coordinated the Great Falls Police Foundation Gala, which is a big deal
Yes.
for our community. There's a lot of volunteering that this person does, but we don't have enough time to laundry list it, so we're just going to go with that one. Oddly enough, has made national news for putting employees back to work.
Congratulations.
Thank you for putting employees back to work. Another notable thing about this person is they have what looks like to be an anteater painted on the side of their building.
Oh, one of them. I mean, then they have a seahorse, I think.
I think they covered that up. Maybe it's still there. I don't know. So with all of that, please help me in welcoming to the podcast. No, not a damn expert, but a mermaid expert, Sandra Johnson-Thares.
Welcome. Was that long enough an introduction to
That
you?
was a good introduction. I can say I am a mermaid expert. I'm probably a damn mermaid expert.
Yes. We don't claim to be experts on a lot of things. Our last two shows were on Glacier and Yellowstone, and we know some stuff about them, but we had to do quite a bit of research, and it shows in the podcast
Yes.
that we were definitely conducting research prior to the show.
Would you believe I've never been to Glacier Park?
What?
That does shock me a little bit.
Yeah, I have never been
Well,
to Glacier Park.
she's too busy taming the mermaids and
Well, I can see
volunteering.
that.
Yeah.
So thank you for hosting us, Sandy, here at the Sip and Dip Lounge. On episode 0 of We're No Damn Experts, we kind of laid the foundation of our podcast and what the 5 episodes would be. And of course, we wanted the 5th one to be solely about your bar,
The Sip and Dip.
the Sip and Dip Lounge. And I know this isn't your first rodeo of people asking you about this bar. How many times have you been on the news? Let's just a gander.
So let's start with national news. If I go
Perfect.
national news, we've been on NBC, ABC, Fox National.
I
There were
saw
some
an
other
article on CNN.
Oh yeah, CNN. Forgot that one. Pretty much every major news organization
Plus,
we've interviewed on, as well as national radio channels: Chicago, Toronto. I guess that's international. LA. We were on New York radio. Yeah. So that's the big ones, and then it just kind of filters down.
well, I remember seeing the Sip and Dip for the first time on HGTV, where a couple was moving to Great Falls and they met here at the Sip and Dip Lounge. I was like, what the heck is going on in Montana?
I forgot that one.
and then here we are.
And then Pat was interviewed for Lifetime
Oh my goodness.
Network. They did a special. They included
Yeah.
her on Lifetime Network.
Yeah, I think I remember a full episode or section of TV devoted to Pat and the history she has within the community.
Yeah.
She's been here at the Sip and Dip for how many years?
So we really don't know that for a fact because we don't have payroll paperwork that goes back that far, and Pat really can't remember.
Oh.
She thinks it was sometime in like 63, 64.
Oh, wow.
But then I got a call from some airline pilot that used to fly in here 50 years ago, and he swore he remembered somebody named Sally playing the piano. So I don't know. We think it's been about 55-ish years.
Oh my goodness.
So, one of the things I have said on this podcast that I believe to be true but could be a lie, Piano Pat sang Love This Bar with Toby Keith in this bar. Is that correct? Because I've said it.
She did not sing it with him. She sang it to him.
Minor difference.
Minor details.
So he was at the piano bar listening to her, and she had no idea who he was when she did sing that song. And his response afterwards was, I've never heard it done as a polka before.
Now, most of the time when people come into Great Falls and they're looking, let me back up. A lot of times when I travel, people don't know where Great Falls, Montana is, and you can reference episode 1 where we give you the geography of where Great Falls, Montana is. But if they do know where Great Falls, Montana is, it is because they look at me and they go, "You have mermaids there." And I'm like, yes, we do have mermaids there. So it is a huge claim to fame. There's a ton of notoriety around the Sip and Dip Lounge.
We had family visit, I had family visit this summer, and I took my sister here along with my parents, and my sister ran into 4 women that it wasn't a bachelorette party. They just came for a weekend to Great Falls because of the Sip and Dip, and they had custom shirts made with sequins, and they went all out. I think some of them even had like painted faces just for the Sip and Dip Lounge. This is how big it is.
It really has created this life of its own over the years. I mean, for the first time this spring, it was really funny because I show up to work and here is a car parked in the inside parking garage that says Sip and Dip or Bust, and it has Utah license plates.
Oh my gosh.
And they just decided they wanted to travel somewhere once the travel ban was lifted, and so they decided to come here. So, yeah, people come here. They travel here just to see it.
Well, the #1 bar in the world we're flying for.
According to GQ, they can't be wrong.
Exactly.
Nobody gets that big as Gentleman's Quarterly and get it wrong. So jump the plane, fly to Great Falls, because we have an airport, you can land directly here, and show up at the Sip and Dip.
So Great Falls is located in central Montana, but Sip and Dip is located pretty much at the entrance of downtown. So,
Yeah.
because it's on 7th.
Yep, we say that we're on the edge of downtown Great Falls.
So edgy.
The entertainment district of Great Falls.
The entertainment district
Yeah.
where you can watch mermaids swim nightly. So you made news. We mentioned this before that Governor Steve Bullock said that you could have your employees, aka mermaids, return to work. What kind of paperwork fiasco is that?
It was a struggle. Again, not something that I thought would make national news. When Fox News called and said, "Oh, we want to interview you," and I'm like, "Oh, Fox News, Great Falls." They're like, "No, Fox News in New York City." I'm like, "Oh, wow, okay." So, part of the governor's reopening mandate was that swimming pools in hotels had to remain closed.
Okay.
Well, our swimming pool is a little unique, as it's also our mermaid tank. And so I sent an email off to the governor and the local health department that said, I can put 12 people back to work if you'll let me open up the pool for them. And the governor came back with an email that said, yes, do it. And the local health department said, no, you can't do it. So I sent those emails on to the opposing parties, and they came back down, and again the governor said, yes, put him back to work. The health department said, your governor's mandate says pools have to remain closed, and so within 24 hours the hotel pools in the state were reopened with restrictions, and we were able to put the mermaids back to work.
If not, you could just relabel the pool mermaid tank and say it's not a pool, it's a tank.
Oh, trust me, I've thought about it. If I didn't have it open for the public, I actually would not have to have it inspected and licensed and all of the paperwork that goes along with having a public swimming pool. But every once in a while, a hotel guest likes to dip their toes in the water.
So that was one of the questions I think Monty asked me in episode 0 was, can people swim in the tank? And immediately I went to, well, I've known people who swam in the tank, but they're not like normal people, so I couldn't for sure answer that question. So are normal people like you and me allowed to just jump in the pool?
If you rent a hotel.
Okay.
Okay.
Hotel guests are allowed into the pool when the mermaids are not swimming.
So
Okay.
what if I, as a hotel guest, ask my friend Sandy to make me a mermaid tail, and at noon on a Tuesday, I want to become my own swimming mermaid? Is that allowed?
I would make you swim in your swimsuit first, so I know that you could handle swimming in a
Okay,
mermaid
well,
tank.
I wouldn't pass that test. We've already went that I'm not a strong swimmer.
My ultimate goal of owning this business is not to let anyone drown in that pool.
Okay, I'm so.
And your mermaids that you find are extremely talented because it's a pretty rigorous.
There's no
Oh,
propellant.
it's a
job.
hard
It's-
job. It is a hard job.
There's a lot of swimming and a lot of breaks, and they only swim for so long. So tell us about that
So-
piece of.
A typical shift for a mermaid is 4 hours long. They're in the water for 45 minutes, out for 15. And this is once they've trained for about 2 months. In that first 2 months time period, they're not going to be able to swim that full 45 minutes. The tails weigh anywhere between 15 to 50 pounds when they're wet, just depending on the materials used in making them and how many layers there are on them. And so they really have to have some good endurance built up to swim with the heavy tails. I have some mermaids that have been here 5 or 6 years, and they can handle the really heavy ones. But the newer mermaids, I mean,
We're not
they can
veterans.
barely make that 45 minutes. It's all about moving themselves through the water with their abs and their arms. And one thing I always tell the new mermaids is we do not swim fast like guppies do, because you will be exhausted. There's a reason that the sip and dip mermaids swim slowly, and it's just because it's so hard to swim.
And you don't want to be blurry in the pictures.
That too.
So you can take pictures with mermaids. You just have to do it quickly.
And not during COVID. I read the
Yeah.
sign.
You can take your picture with the mermaid now, but it has to be out on the other side of the bar.
Oh,
Not
okay.
always allowed behind the bar right now.
Okay, so I can just lean over and post
Yeah.
out. And be
Yes.
Like, me and a
Yes.
mermaid.
Perfect selfie
Okay.
spots.
Yes.
And every once in a while, if they're somebody of notoriety, which translates into really good social media postings for us, I will let them in the pool with the mermaids.
Oh my goodness. So who are we trying to get in the pool right now?
My ultimate goal.
This podcast is going famous, so say the name and they'll show up.
I mean, let's go after the guy that is supposedly signed on to do the Merman in Splash remake, the Mr. Channing Tatum.
Channing,
Tatum?
we need you here in Great Falls.
Right? We
I
do
went
need
over.
him here swimming in my pool.
You can
As
have
a
your own
merman.
tail. Sandy will make it. You probably don't have to do the 2 months training. You're only going in for a short period of time.
Channing, you met my friend Meg in Afghanistan and you took some pictures with her. So I'm going to have Meg call you and have you come on out to Sandy's bar.
You know, we actually did a huge social media campaign trying to get him here when the remake of the movie was announced. We were close. We had several people in his camp that came back to us and said, he knows about this. So I am just waiting for the day that he decides he needs a fun trip to Montana to check out Glacier, which is very close to Great Falls. And he could float the Missouri through the beautiful White Cliffs, and he could be the merman at the Sip and Dip Lounge.
That's a perfect segue. Well, floating the Missouri, we could also get him into Giant Springs.
Oh, my dream, and I've shared this with Sandy, of getting the mermaids to swim in Giant Springs. It is the world's largest natural spring, but we're not going to talk all about Giant Springs today. That's for another episode.
You get
but
the state permission, I'll put the mermaid there.
I'm going to figure out, I'm working connections. I know some people. I don't know people high enough yet, but I'm going to get there.
Well, because it's cleaned out, twice a year, and they have scuba divers that
Yeah.
volunteer to remove any debris that's floated their way. So
And usually those scuba divers come here and play in the pool after they're done at Giant Springs.
so it's
So it's a perfect connection.
Right?
it's already in the process.
I
It's
don't
in
know
the making,
who
people.
makes this decision. Maybe it's Governor Bullock.
Gollum,
I'm calling him.
Governor. We've talked about you multiple
It might be
times.
a little cold right now to do it.
Yeah.
You're fine. It's only a little chilly. Because it remains a constant 54 degrees. The Giant Springs never freeze. So.
But the Mermaid tank is a nice balmy 89 degrees.
So how do you find these mermaids? I mean,
I advertise for it.
And what's the interview process like?
So it actually is kind of a difficult interview process to be a mermaid. More often than not, we kind of lose them halfway through. They just leave the building, never to be seen from again. But they do a face-to-face interview in the office. We get to know their personalities a little bit. Ask the ever infamous, "Why do you want to be a mermaid?" And then they have to do a 40-minute swim tryout. So we make them swim just in their swimsuit, and they are judged by a group of people that have been doing the mermaid hiring over the years with me.
So there's a committee.
There is a mermaid
committee.
hiring committee, believe it or not, and they're judged on swimming ability is number one,
Okay.
costume appropriateness. Some people just don't look good underwater,
Okay.
and audience appeal. Can they smile? Can they push their personality through the windows?
Sandy, how would I fare as a mermaid? I want to know. Can I be one?
How's your swimming ability?
she's we know she doesn't have a face for TV or a voice for radio.
Yet here I am in front of this camera and on this microphone. I make things happen.
Well, then we should try it one time, just
Okay.
because.
Yes, just because.
I can already tell you my application won't show up on your desk. There's just no freaking. I can dog paddle really well.
We have had some of those tryouts. I've had some really disastrous ones over the years.
You have to have like a mermaid net where you scoop them out.
Um,
You're done.
If they don't score high enough just swimming in their swimsuit, it's usually an epic fail of some kind. But if they do score high enough, then we'll put them into an old tail, and then they spend another 10 to 15 minutes swimming in that tail.
Okay.
And believe it or not, the really good mermaids, they'll struggle a bit in just a swimsuit, but the minute you put them into a tail, it just becomes a graceful thing for them. And that's kind of when you know you've got a good one.
I did some scuba dive training, open water dives. I think I'm ready for the tail.
Just remember, you can't use your legs.
I don't use them anyway.
So we have seen some amazing mermaid tails grace the tank and through these windows. Some are very beautiful and elaborate, and they're all different. How do these tails come to be?
So this is the part where when I said to my dad, way back in 1996, I think we should put a mermaid in the pool. And he said, "You're going to live to regret that decision." Not because it's not a good one, but simply because it's going to be so much work for you. I make the mermaid tails. I sew them.
How long does it take?
If I can sew consistently for about 4 hours per day, it'll take me about 10 days to finish one.
Oh my God.
40 hours. So 40 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And each one is about $300 worth of material and trim and sequins and fringe and you name it, it's on there.
And then these silicone ones that are used for the advertising of the Sip and Dip, we have the famous photo of the mermaid but up here on the bar. How heavy are those?
The silicone tails are actually close to probably 75 or 80 pounds. If you ever see the mermaids swimming in the silicone tails, most of them are real close to the surface
Okay.
because they can't get deep with them because they float. But just out of water, they're super, super heavy.
Okay.
The monofin in the bottom of them is usually the heaviest part of them. We use the silicone tails for the photo ops because the cloth ones don't look as good out of the water as they do in. But we won't put the girls into silicone tails inside the pool. A, because it destroys my pool. It'll take big chunks out of the fiberglass on the pool and the paint. And the second part is they're just too damn heavy.
So that's happened. That happens, and it will chip a wall. So.
Yes. We actually had the Mermaids from the dive bar in Sacramento come up for a weekend, and they brought their silicone tails, and we did let them in with ours. They almost died because they can't spend that much time underwater. Our mermaids come down deep. I mean, our mermaids are 6 feet under the water level.
Oh my goodness.
Whereas, again, most of them with silicone tails are just right on top. And so the damage that was done to the pool after they left with their silicone tails sealed the deal. I won't let my girls have those.
We do have a lot of other questions.
Okay.
So we're also going to ask you about the fishbowl, the one that's served here while I'm looking at the mermaids.
64 ounces of blue bliss.
And it's made. So we have talked about Piano Pat, made notoriety. The bar itself, Sip and Dip, making notoriety. Mermaids themselves making notoriety. And the fishbowl, the famous tiki drink served here at the Sip and Dip, also gets its own claims to fame.
It does. I actually noticed that somebody down in the Bahamas knocked off a picture of our fishbowl for their one of their advertising flyers.
What the heck?
Yeah, it was posted online. Like, wait a minute.
You don't make that.
Don't steal that kind of stuff from us.
That's
But they did.
mine.
I didn't copyright it, so it's my own fault, but whatever.
So the fishbowl is fairly large. You can order a half fishbowl, which I did not know until Restaurant Week a couple years ago.
It is 64 ounces. Depending on the bartender, it's 10 to 12 shots of booze.
Oh my goodness.
Ice, juice, carbonated beverage.
You share with a friend.
Or
It's a
three.
good idea
Or three friends.
to share with the friends. We have had a few drink one or two themselves.
And
Don't
they-
usually make it to the bathroom.
No.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in that way, that drink is infamous when you can't make it to the bathroom in time.
Right?
But if you can handle it, then it's just straight iconic.
And during this quarantine time, you can get a fishbowl kit to go.
Oh.
So you can make your own fishbowl at home in this time when everybody needs a great big cocktail.
There was a moment in history, if I remember correctly, where you were able to purchase a commemorative fish bowl to have your drink in.
Yes.
That was a while ago.
It was a while ago. We were fortunate because Bacardi partnered with us to print those and make those up for us, and then we were able to sell them. But
Oh.
um,
So, but you partnered with Bacardi, and then also you have this partnership with Disney. Well, not partnership, but they gave you some decorations?
they did give me some decorations. I was desperate for seaweed to put in the pool with the mermaids. But, just something kind of, Look, the
Add an
mermaids are coming
ambiance.
in when you see the seaweed dropping down, and I could not figure out how to make seaweed. I tried, but it always ended up in the skimmer clogging the pool pipes. So I had taken my family down to Disney, went on the Yellow Submarine ride, and guess what they had?
Seaweed.
They had seaweed. So I came home and I wrote a letter off to Disney and said, just wondering, I know you're redoing that ride in a year or two. Could I have all your seaweed? So they sent me seaweed.
That is so cool. Did they charge you?
Nope.
Oh,
They did
even
not.
better.
Disney. If you
The-
can't be in Great Falls, the next best thing.
The second of you can see the Disney seaweed.
There you go.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
So we've cleared up the claim that I made about Toby Keith and Piano Pat, and the other claim that I have made is you have velvet paintings here in the Sip and Dip. And if I recall, actually what I said was there is like the Mona Lisa of velvet paintings in this bar. Is that a truth or
Would that be the Sippus et Dippus one?
I have no idea.
So Sippus et Dippus is actually not a
Velvet.
velvet painting. We have a great local artist here. He's actually a national artist. who actually was a Disney
Oh, yes.
painter at one time.
I was
Okay.
actually talking about this
Yes.
guy a couple weeks ago.
Yes, so Tom Gilliam.
Yeah.
And I and Tom were having a cocktail or more one evening, and I
Okay.
said, Tom, not to offend your painter ability, but would you consider ever painting on black velvet? I need one more painting. And he said, absolutely not. I was like, okay. But so then several months later, the Russell Art in Action is happening, and he called me and he said, if you sponsor my easel, we're going to do something that looks like a black velvet painting.
Oh.
And so he created Sippus et Dippus. She looks like she's on velvet. We actually, for Art in Action, hauled a mermaid out to the country club and put her on top of the piano so that he could paint her. And it is now hanging in the bar. I can say that I have the most famous, not velvet painting
In
in the lounge.
And ladies and gentlemen,
And Tom has actually said it is the only painting that he's ever had to shellac in case booze got on.
it is a gorgeous painting. We can see it from here, and it is just beautiful. Not to diminish the other actual velvet
No,
painting
I
works
can't.
of art here in the lounge, but
I can't decide which velvet painting I like most. The one where she's upside down, or the one where she's standing behind me and she's all mermaidish.
so cute.
The swimmer black velvet that kind of hangs behind the piano pad, it actually is original to the lounge. When the O'Hare brothers went down to LA and bought all this tiki decoration, they actually bought that painting too.
Oh.
And so she is original.
So,
The others have made their way here over time.
you mentioned 96 the Mermaids came to be. How old is the establishment, the Sip and Dip, the O'Hare?
So the hotel building itself was built in 1962 by Bill and Edgar O'Hare. They were brothers. And they traveled the U.S. for a full year, finding everything like they liked in hotels and brought it back here and built it.
Oh.
And kind of the idea for the swimming concept in the lounge came from when they had visited the Playboy Club in Chicago, and they had playmates swimming in the pool that could be seen from the bar.
The Grand Geneva Resort.
Yes.
Yes, I have been there.
And so they came back and they built this hotel. It was opened in 63. Construction started in 62. My family bought it in 68.
Oh.
And we've had Mermaids since 1996. So there was a long span there over the years that the folklore, we did have an airline. We've had several airlines cruise over the years that stay with us. And way back when they were still known as stewardesses, if it was a stewardess's first trip into Great Falls with that certain airline, it was customary for them to jump in naked into the pool
Oh my gosh.
on their first trip into Great Falls. So we do have a photo album called the Wall of Shame from some naked people over the years. But thank God we didn't have cell phones and
Oh,
handy
could you
access
imagine?
to cameras in the 60s, 70s, and 80s because I'm sure
Those
it
were
would
the
have been.
good days of bars.
Oh, some of the
when it wasn't documented.
You guys got rowdy.
some of the best times we've had are, when we would get the Canadians that came down for the World Cup soccer games, and there's some good stories out there.
Back in the day, I was a bartender in the town of Five that I grew up in, and it was a huge Canadian stop because we were only 16 miles from the border. And at a young age, I can recall taping cigarettes and liquor to the body of Canadians so that they could get through the border without paying duty on their fines and their wares. So I loved Canadian parties back in the day. Those were the best.
And even when the state women's softball championships or bowling tournaments, usually the losing team always had to jump in and moon the lounge or do
What
something.
the heck?
Yeah, so
This was back in the day when there weren't a lot
Right.
of rules.
originally there used to be bubblers. So it was a air tube that went in front of the windows so that if people were doing questionable things in the pool, the bartender could flip a switch and bubbles would cover the windows
Oh.
so that you couldn't see clearly what was happening in the pool.
Even better.
But
the mystery.
unfortunately, those were taken out many years ago. So.
And then rules put in place that ordinary people can't just jump in the pool whenever they feel like it.
Correct.
But you do let famous people swim in the pool, and you've even let local famous people for charity swim in the pool. Like Mayor Kelly has swam in the pool, I think.
Mayor Kelly has not only swam in the pool twice,
Oh,
but he's also put the merman tail and cuffs and bow tie
That's the picture I saw.
to swim in the pool.
oh my goodness, I love
Twice. Twice.
And then I can recall in recent years, I didn't get the ticket for it because they sold out so quick. But we had Aaron Tippin in the tank raising funds for a veterans charity here in town.
Yes. So anything military is very close to Aaron's heart. Aaron's wife, Thea, is a native of Great Falls, and we have been friends with them for many, many, many years. And one night over a few bottles of wine, not glasses, bottles, there was a bet made and a bet lost. And,
These are the best stories.
and so he agreed to do a fundraiser to raise money for the veterans home here. And we sold tickets, one for every seat in the bar, and he jumped in and swam as the merman. Yeah,
It's
and then
such
he
an
also did
awesome thing.
and he also did a really nice meet and greet, and their son Tom Tippin, who is an up and coming country star in his own right, sang that night, and so it was just a really fun, different kind of fundraiser. I love to do different.
Yeah.
I am not one who does traditional.
Well, I mean, you guys used to have a helicopter pad on top, so
We
I
did
mean,
it, and we used to sell helicopter rides every Sunday
See,
afternoon.
bring that back.
Oh, I don't think this building could handle
We
a
should-
helicopter anymore.
we should have the helicopter pad back, and then the pilot can be the mermaid, double duty.
Yeah. I love this idea, and I understand there's a lot of logistics, but
Make it happen.
make it happen.
My building might end up in a pile of rubble. You have to remember, helicopters were really small back then. We're talking the old MASH kind of helicopters.
Well, then let's get the MASH kind of helicopters. Doesn't Disney have some pull in MASH? I mean, we can make
But
these
isn't there
connections.
something happening with personal drones? That could be an option.
What?
I don't know.
Flying chairs? Just get a
Pretty
ladder
much.
up in here. You know, Rebecca and I have all these amazing ideas. First,
Then other people have to implement.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this is
Yeah.
the
Well,
one
no,
idea
no.
we came up with as a podcast. We were able to do that.
oh, wait, we'll backtrack up on that, Rebecca. Rebecca came up with the idea for the podcast and got me to do it. So-
It's really a good partnership. I'm
It's
gonna tell
amazing.
ya.
But now we have ideas together sometimes, and this is our idea. So somehow, please have the helicopter return to the O'Hare Motor Inn.
I will tell you, we disassembled the helipad years ago when we put the new rubber roof on.
Oh,
So it will never happen again unless
So-
they land in the back parking lot.
helicopters not coming back.
Sorry.
Sounds like, but we can continue to have music videos here at the Sip and Dip Lounge.
Oh, heck yeah.
So, what music videos have you guys done here so far?
Let's see. Old Dominion did one.
Oh,
We let them get in with the Mermaids, and so they included us in one of their
okay.
music videos. The Black Lilies did a music video here. Banjo somebody, I can't remember his name. Banjo Steve, I think. He did a music video here. Halliday Quist did a music video here. They filmed another one. Oh, Matt Costa from down in California.
Oh, yeah.
He did a music video here. And then there was a film called The Best Bar, and it's filmed here in the Citadel. It's an actual movie.
So we're pretty much in.
Well,
Who's
in
that?
this venue, anytime you walk into the O'Hare or the Sip and Dip or Clark and Louie's, you're going to see signs that say filming is in progress most of the time here. Because you just never know when there's going to be film crews in the area, and anytime you enter, you have to be giving consent, or you have to kind of stay home.
Correct. Well, and most of the time I don't even know that they're here. Honestly, I went to a doctor's appointment, sat down, wait in the waiting room, opened up National Geographic, and here are pictures of my bar. And we were named the best bar from Mexico to Canada.
Oh.
And I had no idea that they were even here. So a lot of times it happens. We don't really have input, which is great. I don't want to influence.
You know what, Sandy? I get some emails sometimes when people say, I found images of the Sip and Dip Lounge on your website. I want them. Can I have them? And I say, sure. Here they are. I'd love for you to support this amazing bar. And I think to myself, well, if I was the bar owner, if I was Sandy, I'd want to know. So I CC'd you, and now I know I shouldn't have. Sandy doesn't even care because she's been on the news a bajillion times.
And it's not. I'll take that back. It's not that I don't care. I really do. But I spend a few hours every Sunday night Googling where we've been mentioned for the week.
So
because I just like to know.
Well, yeah, you want to keep tabs on it. So
yeah.
But even my job, I'm not even affiliated with the Sip and Dip, but they want the pictures, and they're gonna talk about it and do their articles, and then you start researching more and more, and looking at Google search, and there's at least 100 articles.
We've had 3 reality TV shows scout us to do a TV show based around us.
And I think this is good TV. No more housewives of anything.
Done. Unsubscribe from that.
Let's see how the world works when you're a mermaid and you're an 86-year-old lounge singer, and
you're trucking through 2 feet of snow to get your mermaid tail on.
Right? Yeah. They weren't very happy with me that I made him swim last night, but
what are you gonna do? People need the show.
yeah.
The show will go on. Whoops.
Are you hitting stuff?
I am hitting stuff. I'm just so excited. Sandy, we really want to thank you for letting us be here recording this podcast for We're No Damn Experts. We had an awesome time with you. Are there any plugs that we should do? Like, look at me at the latest.
What didn't we know that we should know?
Even with COVID and quarantining and limited occupancy, and we still have the Mermaids every night. We're still here. We don't plan on going anywhere. It may not be as exciting as it once was because Pat's still in quarantine. But we're still here. So come see us, especially our Canadian friends. We cannot wait to see you again. I miss all of you. Like every single one of you up in Canada, I miss with all my heart.
Damn, we miss you.
Oh, it's so
It's
sad.
awful. And it's just strange. Again, Canada, if you don't recall from the geography episode, is our neighbor, and it's an international country. But they feel just like our neighbors in the next town, and it's been just awful having that border closed for all of us, and we miss you, Canadians.
Our falls don't roar as strong as they used to. Food is losing taste. Our mermaids don't flap like they used to either, so come on down when the border opens.
Yeah.
And it'll be back to normal soon, some type of normal, but the pandemic can't last forever. So when you're ready, get to Great Falls, get to the Sip and Dip Lounge, have this experience. It's a bucket list experience that you wouldn't have anywhere other than Great Falls, Montana.
And if you really, something new, exciting for the holidays, we have a new cart launching, so you can buy a whole bunch of new Sip and Dip merchandise for the holidays. So if you can't hear Pat in person, you can hear her on CD. Yeah.
I thought you were going to
You
say...
can cozy into your Sip and Dip sweatshirt and just wait for the day you can come down and have a fishbowl with us.
I thought you were going to say Santa was going to be in the tank. Santa?
We have a picture of Santa with the mermaids, but not in the
Okay.
tank. But during the holidays, all of our mermaids wear holiday tails, which are Christmas themed.
Oh, goodness, Sandy, your father was right.
He was right. 100% he was right.
Oh, my goodness.
But we're thankful that you still persevered in light of your father's advice We couldn't be more delighted to have this gem within our community.
So I'm Maudie Stella Hazard,
I'm Rebecca Ingham.
and we're No Damn Experts. Thanks for tuning in on this episode of the Sip and Dip Lounge with Sandy Johnson-Thares, and we will see you next time.
Sounds great. Bye.
We're No Damn Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.
On the next episode of We're No Damn Experts, Rebecca and Maudie introduce to you their beloved 53 miles of trail called the River's Edge Trail. We're No Damn Experts was produced by Great Falls, Montana Tourism with original music by the best damn musician, Joel Corda.